Hello and welcome to part 8 of our Azure Solutions Architect exam practice question series. We will start with question number 51 in this part. You have the Azure resources shown in the following table. The resources are virtual network with the name of VNet1, virtual machine with the name of VM1, Azure SQL database with the name of SQL DB1, private endpoint with the name of PE1, and then you have a private DNS zone and a public DNS zone. Both are named as contoso.com. Now the virtual network is connected to an on-premise network by using ExpressRoute, and the virtual machine is configured as a DNS server. Azure SQL database is a single instance database, and private endpoint provides connectivity to SQL DB1. And the contoso.com private DNS zone is linked to VNet1 and contains an A record for private endpoint 1. And the public DNS zone contains a CNAME record for SQL DB1. You need to design a solution that provides on-premise network connectivity to SQL DB1 through private endpoint 1. How should you configure name resolution? And the first part of the question talks about Azure configuration. Your options are configure VM1 to forward contoso.com to the public DNS zone, configure VM1 to forward contoso.com to the Azure provided DNS at 168.63.129.16. In VNet1, configure a custom DNS server set to the Azure provided DNS at 168.63.129.16. And folks, the correct answer here is option B. Configure VM1 to forward contoso.com to the Azure provided DNS at 168.63.129.16. This setup allows the DNS server on VM1 to forward DNS queries for the contoso.com domain to the Azure provided DNS. The Azure DNS can resolve the private endpoint to its private IP address. Now, the next part of the question is on-premise DNS configuration. How should you configure that? Your options are forward contoso.com to VM1, forward contoso.com to the public DNS zone, and forward contoso.com to the Azure provided DNS at 168.63.129.16. And friends, in this case, the correct answer is option A, forward contoso.com to VM1. By configuring the on-premise DNS to forward requests for contoso.com to VM1, DNS queries for this domain will be directed to the DNS server on VM1, which will then forward them to the Azure provided DNS. Next question. You have an Azure virtual machine named VM1 that runs Windows Server 2019 and contains 500 GB of data files. You are designing a solution that will use Azure Data Factory to transform the data files and then load the files to Azure Data Lake storage. What should you deploy on VM1 to support the design? Your options are the on-premise data gateway, the Azure Pipelines agent, the self-hosted integration runtime, and Azure File Sync agent. Folks, Azure Data Factory requires an integration runtime to perform data movement and transformation between cloud and on-premise data sources. Since the data files are on VM1 and needs to be processed using ADF, self-hosted integration runtime is required to establish connectivity between the VM and the Azure Data Lake storage. Now let's understand the use case of other options. On-premise data gateway is used for Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automates, or Azure Logic Apps. Azure Pipelines agent is used for CI/CD pipelines to automate builds and deployments. Then Azure File Sync agent is used to sync file shares between on-premise Windows servers and Azure files. Next question, friends. You have an Azure subscription that contains an Azure Key Vault named KV1 and a virtual machine named VM1. VM1 runs Windows Server 2022 Azure Edition. You plan to deploy an ASP.NET Core-based application named App1 to VM1. You need to configure app1 to use a system assigned managed identity to retrieve secrets from KV1. The solution must minimize development effort. What should you do? And the first part of the question talks about configure app1 to use OAuth 2.0. Your options are authorization code grant flows, client credentials grant flows, implicit grant flows. And friends, the correct answer is option B, client credentials grant flows. The client credentials flow is suitable for service-to-service communication, allowing app1 to authenticate and obtain a token to access the key vault. Now, the next part of the question is configure app1 to use a REST API call to retrieve an authentication token from your options are Azure Instance Metadata Service MDS endpoint, OAuth 2.0 access token endpoint of Entra ID, OAuth 2.0 access token endpoint of Microsoft Identity Platform. And friends, the correct answer here is option A, Azure Instance Metadata Service endpoint. Now, using the IMDS endpoint is the standard way for Azure resources to obtain tokens for their managed instances, simplifying authentication without managing credentials. Question number 54. You are designing a software as a service application that will enable Entra ID users to create and publish online surveys. The SaaS application will have a front-end web app and a back-end web API. The web app will rely on the web API to handle updates to customer surveys. You need to design an authorization flow for the SaaS application. The solution must meet the following requirements. To access the backend web API, the web app must authenticate by using OAuth 2 bearer tokens, and the web app must authenticate by using the identities of individual users. What should you include in the solution? And the first part of the question talks about the access tokens will be generated by, and your options are Entra ID, web app, and web API. And folks, the access tokens will be generated by Entra ID. Entra ID will handle the authentications of user via OAuth 2.0 authorization code grant flow. After a successful user login, the web app will receive an access token from the Entra ID. The access token is a bearer token that the web app can use to make authorized calls to the web API on behalf of the logged in user. Now, the next part of the question is talking about authorization decisions will be performed by, and you again have similar three options. And in this case, the decisions will be performed by the web API. The web API will receive the access token with each request from the web app. The web API is responsible for validating the access token to ensure it is valid, unexpired, and issued by Entra ID. Based on the claims in the token, the web API can determine whether the user is authorized to perform a specific action such as updating a survey. Let's look at question number 55, friends. You have an on-premise application that consumes data from multiple databases. The application code references database tables by using a combination of the server, database, and table name. You need to migrate the application data to Azure. To which two services can you migrate the application data to achieve the goal? Your options are SQL Server Stretch Database, SQL Server on an Azure virtual machine, Azure SQL Database, Azure SQL Managed Instance. And friends, the correct answers here are option B and option D, as they both support cross-database queries, native SQL Server features, and server-level objects such as logins, linked servers, and agent jobs. Now, cross-database queries is the key requirement for this use case, which is not supported by Azure SQL Database, making it an incorrect choice. SQL Server Stretch Database is used to migrate cold data to Azure while keeping frequently accessed data on-premise. Next question. You plan to create an Azure storage account that will host file shares. The shares will be accessed from on-premise applications that are transaction intensive. You need to recommend a solution to minimize latency when accessing the file shares. The solution must provide the highest level of resiliency for the selected storage account. What should you include in the recommendation? And the first part of the question is talking about storage tier. Your options are hot, premium, transaction optimized. Folks, this question tests your knowledge around storage performance tiers and file share access tiers. When you create a storage account, then you only get two options, either standard or premium. And you will choose premium here because premium tier provides low latency and high throughput, which is essential for transaction intensive workloads. We will shortly head to Azure portal to understand this in more detail. But first, let's look at second part of this question. Redundancy. And your options are ZRS, ZRS, and LRS. And folks, you will need to choose ZRS here, as premium storage accounts only support LRS and ZRS. It does not support GRS. So folks, here we are in Azure portal. Let's go to storage account, try to create a storage account and see the options for ourselves. So as soon as you click on create, you are presented with the create a storage account wizard. And if you scroll down in the performance, you can see there are only two options, standard and premium. Standard is recommended for most scenarios, which is general purpose V2 account, and premium is recommended for scenarios that require low latency. This is what our question was talking about. So if you select premium, you can see the redundancy options that you get now are only LRS and ZRS. That is the reason in second part of our question, we have chosen ZRS as the correct answer. Now, if I select the standard, you can see the redundancy is showing up for all of the types, which is LRS, GRS, ZRS, GZRS. So folks, this is what I wanted to show you, which has helped me in answering the question. Now, the next thing to understand why we have not chosen hot or transaction optimized as the correct answers, let's create a storage account with standard performance tier and see what are all the options you are getting when you try to create a file share. So what we'll do is I have named my storage account as Tech with Jaspal, and then I have chosen my region as Asia Pacific, and I'm not going to change other settings at this stage. I'll click on review and create. The validation is currently in progress, which is done now. Let's click on create. The deployment shouldn't take a lot of time. I think it should take maybe a minute or maybe less than that. I'll pause the video here and I'll come back once the account has been created. So friends, our deployment is now complete and the storage account has got created. What I'll do is I'll go to the resource now and we'll head to the data storage section and select file share, because our question was talking about file shares in a storage account. And as soon as I click on file share, create file share, basically in the access tier, you can see there are three access tiers: transaction optimized, hot, and cool. Out of these, our option had transaction optimized and hot tier. This is what I wanted to show you, that those options were specific to file share, but the question was talking about the performance tier of a storage account. That is why we had to choose premium access tier. Now, and you can also see here, premium file shares are only available for premium file storage accounts. So if you have created a standard storage account, you will not be able to create a premium file share. You have to choose the option of basically premium performance when creating the storage account if you want to create a premium file share. Question number 57. You need to configure a Azure policy to ensure that the Azure SQL databases have TDE enabled. The solution must meet the security and compliance requirements. Which three actions should you perform in sequence? And the options are: create an Azure policy definition that uses the deploy if not exists effect, invoke a remediation task, create an Azure policy definition that uses the modify effect, create an Azure policy assignment, create a user managed identity. Friends, first section you need to perform is to create an Azure policy definition that uses the deploy if not exists effect. This effect ensures that if TDE is not enabled on an Azure SQL database, it will deploy the required configuration to enable it. You will define a policy rule that checks if TDE is enabled and deploy if it is not. Now, since you have created the definition, the next section would be to create policy assignment. You will assign the policy definition to a scope. Basically, it can be subscription, it can be resource group to enforce the policy, and this policy will monitor the existing and future resources in the selected scope. Finally, you will create a remediation task. This is to ensure non-compliant existing Azure SQL databases are remediated and TDE is enabled where needed. Next question, friends. You have an Azure subscription that contains Azure Cosmos DB for NoSQL account named Account 1 and an Azure Synapse Analytics workspace named Workspace 1. The Account 1 account contains a container named Container 1 that has the analytical store enabled. You need to recommend a solution that will process the data stored in Container 1 in near real time and output the results to a data warehouse in Workspace 1 by using a runtime engine in the workspace. The solution must minimize data movement. Which pool in Workspace should you use? Your options are Apache Spark, Serverless SQL, Dedicated SQL, and Data Explorer. And folks, the correct answer here is option A, Apache Spark. Now, Apache Spark is designed for near real-time processing and supports direct querying of data from Cosmos DB's analytical store without needing to move the data. It can effectively handle streaming workloads, large-scale data transformation, and analysis, making it suitable for scenarios where near real-time data insights are required. Now, Spark pools in Synapse Analytics can read data directly from the analytical store of Cosmos DB, process it, and write the results to the Synapse data warehouse. Apache Spark minimizes data movement by working directly with the analytical store of Cosmos DB, which allows querying without duplicating or moving the data. Results can be written to dedicated SQL pools or Synapse managed data warehouses, meeting the requirement of minimal data movement. So folks, that's all for this part of the series. If you have liked the content, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. We will be back soon with more such questions in our Azure Solutions Architect Expert AZ-305 exam practice question.